Today I would like to share with you guys arguably the most famous chess game ever played in the history of the game. This is a game that was played in 1858 in Paris. It's a game that was played between Paul Morphy and two guys, Duke Brunswick and Comte Isouard. So the story of this game, Duke Brunswick wanted to play chess with Paul Morphy, so he invited him to Paris in order to change him. And the funny thing about this game is that the setting was very peculiar. This game was played in an opera house during a show. And basically, Morphy and these two guys, they had their own private lodge. And while the show was going on, they were playing chess in the lodge. And Morphy, who was there because he wanted to see the opera, was basically had his back turned to the scene and was kind of forced to turn around during the game in order to be able to see what was going on. So arguably this is a game that was played blindfolded by Paul Morphy. If you guys don't know who Paul Morphy is, basically he's the greatest player of his generation. He's remembered as the uncrowned world chess champion, the unofficial world chess champion of the time. He was basically better than anyone who lived during that time. He beat everyone, and his games are very famous. And the reason I want to show you this game is that it's both an historically important game, but it's also a very instructive game. So if you're a beginner, stick around. This is a game that you need to know to grow as a chess player, and that will teach you valuable lessons. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Paul Morphy is playing white, and the Duke and Comte are playing with black, and Paul Morphy opens with e4. His opponents respond with e5, and Paul Morphy plays knight f3. And here they responded with d6. So let's pause here for a minute. This is known as the Philidor defense. It's not the main move right now. It's kind of less popular. The more popular response is either to play knight c6 or knight f6, but we won't go into that today. But it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly playable. You can play d6 here. It's no problem. So the main move here for white is d4, just changing the center, attacking the pawn on d5. And here already black goes kind of off rail by playing this move, bishop to g5. So bishop to g5 is a bit of a subpar move here, because it allows white to do what Paul Morphy did into the game and simply take on e5, and already this is kind of a challenging position for black. Why? Because if you simply recapture the pawn, as you would like to do under normal circumstances, here white can simply take the queen with check. Black recaptures the queen, and here you would simply grab the pawn on e5, and white is currently up a pawn and also threatening the f6 pawn, and basically has a major advantage in this situation. So usually you don't want to do that, and you're going to do what black did into this game and simply take the knight, and white can recapture with the queen. I think Steinitz said in one of his commentary in his commentary of this game that you could go for something like bishop takes, and this is also playable with the idea of basically playing an endgame with the pair of bishop against black. So that's another option, but more natural and easier to play is simply to take with the queen. So let's back up for a little bit. Let's go back to this situation, to this position. So yeah, just for the record, usually here you don't play bishop g5. You simply either you take the pawn, or you can play knight to d7 is also perfectly fine. But anyway, in this game they played bishop to g5, so Morphy took the pawn, they took the knight, because they have no other choice, as I just explained. Morphy took back with the queen, and they took the pawn on d5, recapturing the pawn. So here, Paul Morphy played bishop to c4. So if you're a beginner player, this is the opening stage. You want to bring your piece out, and here it creates a threat on the f7 square. As you can see, the bishop and the queen are lining up against the f7 square, and if black was to make a foolish move, it would be mate in one, such as. Obviously, the two opponents of Morphy saw this, and they played knight to f6, blocking the queen from attacking the pawn. But here, you may pause the video and try to find what move white has in this position. I'll give you a second. Here, obviously, you can play queen to b3, and this is a double attack. You're attacking the f7 pawn with the queen and the bishop, and you are attacking also the b6 pawn with the queen, which is undefended, because if you remember, the light square bishop went out and exchanged itself against the knight. So whatever black does here, they are going to lose a pawn. So here, Morphy's opponents played a clever move. They played, I mean, it's kind of one of the only moves that you can play in this position, but still it's pretty clever. They played queen to e7. So here the idea, first off, it defends the f7 pawn, which is very good. If you try to defend this pawn, you're just going to get checkmated like this. You go here and then it's mate, so you have no other choice but defend your f7 pawn, which is the critical weakness here. So they play that. And here, if you grab the pawn with the queen, what happens is that they have this resource, queen to b4 check, and you have no choice but to exchange the queen. And okay, black is probably worse in this situation, but they can still fight on, and they still have a fighting chance. So obviously, Morphy wasn't there to make any prisoner. He was there to prove a point and to show that he is better than everyone else. So he didn't want to exchange queens straight away, and he played knight f3, which allowed black to go c6. And now black is defending the b7 pawn. So here, Morphy continued by developing his pieces. Always develop, think about castling in the opening. So he developed his bishop to the active square g5, pinning the knight to the queen. And here, if black plays something foolish, he could already take, and here you cannot take with black because this pawn is still in danger. So black played knight to d7, reinforcing this knight, thinking he was clever. Oh, wait a minute, did he play that? Or never mind, they didn't play knight to d7, they played b5. Sorry about that. They played b5 with the idea of chasing the bishop away. So here, you're Morphy, you want to prove a point, you're here to show that you're better than anyone else. What do? Take a second, guys, and think about this game. If you never seen it before, think a little bit about what you would do here. So some of you probably thought that, okay, this bishop is attacked, you have to move it away. You cannot take that pawn because it's defended. You cannot put it here or here. So just do something like move the bishop away. But actually here, you can sacrifice the knight against the b4 pawn, the b5 pawn. Why? Because the problem here for black is all of their pieces are kind of stuck. This knight is pinned, this queen is blocking the bishop, the rook is not developed yet, the knight is not developed yet. Whereas all of white pieces are well placed, they are attacking stuff in black's camp. So here white has the ability to sacrifice a piece for the activity and to gain initiative. And actually this is the winning move, and white is completely already has a huge advantage in this position after that. So he takes with the bishop, it's check. You cannot block with the knight because the queen, well, you can, but you would be losing your queen. So obviously you don't do that. If you move the king, then it's going to be long castle and you're going to get slaughtered in the middle of the board. This king is very quickly going to be stuck and checkmated. So you don't want to do that either. You just want to block with the knight. And now, as you can see, white is basically in a perfect black is in a complete bind. This knight is pinned to the king, this knight is pinned to the queen, this bishop is blocked, this rook is doing nothing, this rook is blocked, and everything is going wrong for black at the moment. So Morphy just keep ramping up the pressure on black's camp by playing long castle. He brings this rook on the open file. Another very important chess principle, bring your rook on the open file. And now there is another attacker on the knight in front of black's king, so black has to defend with his own rook. And here again, pause the video and try to think about what you can do. So Morphy takes the knight. Yet another sacrifice. This one, maybe it's not really a sacrifice, because once you take back with the rook, then you get this rook to d1, and the rook on d7 is pinned to the king by the bishop, and you're going to recapture the rook for the next move. So black is still in huge trouble here. The king is still stuck in the center. So what black tried to do, they tried to exchange the queen to alleviate a bit of the pressure on their position. And here you could actually take the queen. It would take back. You take the knight, which is guarding the rook. Black's take. And after something like rook to d7, black is completely lost here. They are going to lose material because of this discovered check that is brewing. They have no way to really prevent it. Oh, actually, maybe they could play something like d7, but still, after rook here, bishop to e7, rook a6. This looks very, very bad for black. This is completely losing basically for white. So but Morphy, he wasn't there to take any prisoner. He was there to crush his opponents and prove his point. Prove he was the better player that night. So he didn't go for the queen trade. If I go back a little bit on the position, this was here. There was a queen here. And a queen here, and a knight, and oops, not the right, wrong color of bishop. Yes, rook. So yes, in this position, black just played queen e7, e6. What do you do as white? You're Morphy. What do you do as white? So here, what Morphy did, first, he chomped this rook. And the point of queen here is that now the knight is no longer pinned to the queen, so you can take with the knight. And here you can pause the video one final time and try to find the winning idea for white. I'll give it to you. You play queen v8, check. Sacrificing the queen against nothing, and here you have to take. You have no other legal move than take. Oh well, I guess you can play queen c8, but then you would just lose your queen against nothing and you would be checkmated, so that's not very interesting. And here, this beautiful checkmate miniature. Rook to g8 puts an end to the game, and Morphy wins this game in fashion, with only his rook and his bishop left on the board. So this is a really instructive game for a couple of reasons. First, in the opening, usually you don't really want to bring your bishop out first. You want to bring the knight first. So if you're a beginner, try to stick to that principle. And what Morphy showed in this game is that basically activity trumps material. You can sacrifice your pieces as long as you have more activity and more initiative than your opponent, and that your opponent king is in danger. It's fine. It's going to win you the game. So that's it for today. If you stuck around until the end of the video, thank you very much. I really appreciate you. Please consider leaving a like and subscribing to my channel. On this channel, we review chess games, we talk about openings, we talk about chess in general. Basically, I share with you my training sessions, what I learn about chess on a daily basis. And that's all for me. That's all for today. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.